Welcome to my channel, y'all. It's me, Rhonda, and we got a little something new going on in the family. We got Tony up here, the oldest in the gang, and we got Kylie also.
I don't like that word.
What, oldest?
I guess it's factually
He's the senior. He's the senior child. We got Kylie over there in the corner, blue.
I'll use my government name.
Well, it's right there on the screen. You should probably change that if you don't want the world to know.
My whole last name.
I get sought out. That's crazy.
I'll go ahead and take care of that, but for future references, you don't want your government name.
I had no warning. Okay, just Wanda 01.
Yeah, that's my channel. That's my everything. My Insta, my channel, my TikTok, because I'm a whole 12-year-old in this bitch.
Stop yelling.
Oh, it does run in the family. That's crazy. All right.
See?
Family was not listening.
So let's talk about some things, since that's why we're here. That's why we decided to do this. I wanted to have some segments of family conversation, and we are all in different segments of this universe, as we roll through life. That's deep. That's a tree thought, just in case you were wondering. But let's get it started with R.V. Wade. So what's up with that?
The government's trying to police our bodies again, I see.
Say that again. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
The government what? Bring it on down.
Then the government is trying to police our bodies again. They never really stopped, but here they are yet again. Giving their opinion where it does not count, where it doesn't belong. I'm upset.
What'd you say, Tom? What's your opinion on
the? This is a terrible mistake. It is an absolutely terrible mistake, and just to set things off. Okay, so as a Black man, when I see the government coming after human rights, I get a little nervous because it's not going to stop there.
As you should.
It's not going to stop there. It's So first of all, because I was like, let me get some timeline together. First of all, it's under the guise of the 14th Amendment, which is pretty much a civil rights amendment. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So based on the fact that okay, so this kind of threw me when you think about it. Women didn't get to vote until 1920. And Black women didn't get to vote until 1965. So literally, my mother was damn near 40 before she got a chance to vote for the first time.
Damn, son.
That is not that long ago.
Not that long ago at all.
When we're talking about the grand scheme of things, that was yesterday.
Right. And so when you're talking about the whole 14th Amendment being based on a lot of, civil rights, like us just being able to live as human people born here with the same rights as anybody else, that happened That happened only a year after Juneteenth. You know, that thing where we know we were free, but nobody told us we were free. And,
Right.
So it does make you concerned. It makes me concerned. Like, where are they going with it? Like you said, when the country is run by white supremacists, how does that affect our civil rights? Because I feel like the whole idea of, R. V. Wade that's just the beginning, I feel like. Of what?
Yeah, no,
What's the bigger picture?
there was a sitting senator that, I mean, granted, this may not be one-to-one what he meant, but he was like, quote tweeting Obama going, okay, now do Brown versus the Board of Education. And a whole bunch of people were like, whoa, now what we're not going to do, what we're not going to do is take this immediately to race. Like, we shouldn't even be doing what we're doing right now in the first place before we start coming after everything else. Like,
but isn't that like, I heard, the Supreme Court, okay, so the Supreme Court is 9 people, 6 of which are men, 1 of which is Black, but I mean, it's Clarence Thomas, so that
shout out
doesn't
Uncle
really
Ruckus.
work in anybody's favor. The new Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, I mean, she's not even in the photo yet because this is all, brand new.
Right.
But I mean, you can look at it, at least there's another person that we would hope to be an ally, because I don't feel like, do we have any allies on the Supreme Court right now? What's the older woman? I think her
we don't. And not even just like race involved. Like, this is, we're talking about a whole bunch of people who pretty much have been looking out for themselves the whole time. Like, it's just follow the money is one thing people like to say all the time.
Oh yeah, but it's true. But I mean,
and a question. So
say that again.
I said side note and a question. Speaking of Supreme Court, why do they get to keep their chairs their entire life?
That's the problem, though. That's probably the biggest part of the problem.
It has a term to stop dictatorship, but is that not dictatorship?
It absolutely is, especially the way the numbers are stacked.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the way that people get selected.
Well, then I was like, well, so is that the whole point? Is that why they were so gung-ho over backing Trump, so that he could be in there and finagle this? They knew this nigga was gonna be
that
gone
thing was
anyway.
finagled in the first place because Obama was supposed to be able to one to appoint that seat, and they went out of their way to block him from doing so.
No, he was not able to do that.
The reality TV show star, they get to pick whoever he wants. Like, they're not even trying to hide this shit anymore.
Which goes back to the 14th Amendment. I was like, so Heidi, we can't hear you hardly.
Well, y'all got fancy microphones and shit, and all I have is a computer.
I'm not using my microphone, so lean your face closer to your microphone that's on.
Lean my face closer to the microphone.
Yeah,
YouTube like is gonna see my nose hairs, bruv.
I'm sick.
Oh God.
I'm deceased.
Or should I just be in my living room yelling?
No, just lean a little closer. But yeah, I feel like that's the bigger part of the problem, is them being able to have their job like for a lifetime. That,
that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's a problem in the House and the Senate too. Honestly, there's a whole bunch of people who are just dated in their ways of thinking, just running everything. We need some more young people in there to kind of try to balance that out. But when you got people who have been sitting there for longer than I've been alive, and they love to say vote, but gerrymandering is literally written into the rules. Like, these people are.
Okay, so why are we waiting though? Do you think they went after that particular amendment because they figured it would be easy to get to? Why that?
So what now?
I said, why Roe versus Wade though? Why did they go after that particular one? Because they felt like it would be easy to overturn? Because I'm like, let's don't act like there's a line out the abortion clinic. People are, I probably shouldn't say that word. I don't know that that's a word that, YouTube is okay with, but why be outside the clinic, there's not a stampede there. Like Planned Parenthood is about contraception. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
health, like
But I mean,
they're focusing on
they've
all of
been-
these services that Planned Parenthood, is there for.
They've been trying to defund and deconstruct that for years.
But
Well-
why though? Because your boy Clarence Thomas, and I don't mean your boy, I mean y'all's boy out there that put, anyway.
I know what you
Clarence Thomas this said that's the next thing that we should be going after. It's contraception. And I'm like, what? Why? Why is this a thing?
Because the first attack on us as people, taking away our rights to do certain things and creating a generation of people who can't help themselves is beneficial to them. They're making the money,
Right.
they're keeping people in the dark, they're creating lives that
will go work at Kentucky Fried Chicken because nobody else will.
wants to fucking do that. And now and they don't want to build their little robots no more. And they're like, maybe I do need a guy to stand at the window. Finna create it.
Well, I remember thinking that was a problem a long time ago. I just think, I'm just curious as to why contraception, like what, and then we know gay marriage is on the table.
Yeah, of course it's on the table. This is it all kind of points back to, the Bible and them making rules based on it, even though it's supposed to be like a separation of church and state.
There's no absolutely no separation.
Right. Like you can't tell me with a straight face that this isn't just because allegedly Jesus said you can't have an abortion. And I think that's why that's one of the
Where
first
did he
things
say
they went
that
for.
at? He said that where?
Exactly.
He didn't say half of the stuff that has been used against.
So I did this yesterday. It's so funny because of how things, happened when Caitlin was born. I asked her basically, like, do you know the story of Adam and Eve? And she's like, nah, not really. She was like, I know there's Adam, I know there's Eve. And I was like, that's a beautiful thing. Okay, let me come show you this story. So I go on YouTube and I find this little 10-minute cartoon version of Adam and Eve. And I'm like, I'm looking at the cartoon version because that's what you tell the kids, like the little ones. Like, we're going to break it down for the little ones. So they learn immediately that God was making all of these beautiful things on the earth. And then he made man. And then from the man, and I'm assuming Adam was here kicking it, right? And then he was lonely. So, God made Eve in order to entertain this nigga. That's basically what I'm getting out of the story. It's a cartoon, but this is my interpretation.
I hate how generally the first thing that we learn about church and religion, that God is spiteful and wrathful and he will murder you and destroy you.
Well, this is the thing. And this cute little story that you're supposed to be sharing with your children.
Apple?
Adam is, he's there and he's naming all the things. I think I'll call this a watermelon, because he's a genius. No. And so then God makes Eve from the rib of Adam. I don't know, to entertain him. How that works. I think it's called a wife, there to entertain Adam's ass. So didn't they make Eve Adam's wife? See, they sent me subliminals, from the very, very beginning. So Eve is walking around in this lush garden of Eden.
That's gross.
Say what?
I said, Eve is Adam's wife, but they're the only two people there, so they're brother, sister. That's gross.
I mean, it goes far beyond. They're supposed to populate the whole world, but that's later in the story. The first part of the story is they are allowed to walk freely in this perfect Garden of Eden. The only thing that they're not allowed to do is eat
that
tree of knowledge, good and evil, right? I'm not sure why, but God, who made everything, made this snake. And the snake, God did make everything, right? Including the snake. The sneaky snake then tells Eve, that she should probably go ahead and eat from the tree of knowledge, good and evil. And she's all like, no, God said don't do that. He's like, come on, he just don't even want you to know stuff. I'm not sure why God doesn't want me to know stuff, but this is y'all's story, not mine. And I'm supposed to tell it to my little small children.
Right.
And so, she listens to this. First of all, snakes are slimy. I don't know, why wouldn't you pick a bunny? Why wouldn't the bunny be like the one to try to get her? But no, he's gonna listen to a sneaky, slimy snake.
Trust the snake.
So anyway, she bites the apple, the fruit. We won't say apple. We don't want to villainize the apple in the land of fruit. She bites into the fruit.
An apple was never mentioned, so you're right.
It's forbidden fruit, but it looked a lot like an apple. But anyway, she bites into the fruit, and the first thing she realizes is that, oh my God, I'm naked. So I should be ashamed. So now I should be ashamed of myself because I realized that I'm naked. I didn't know that before. Now I know I'm ashamed of myself. But first, I'm going to go let Adam bite into this nice, juicy, forbidden fruit that I shouldn't have eaten from. Right?
So then he's naked too. Duh.
Well,
it's our fault.
She convinced him, although he's the leader and he was out here naming things, how come he, the leader, the man, didn't tell her no, I'm not going to do that because God said not to. He didn't do it. Maybe, he didn't know she was naked, so that couldn't be why he did it.
What type of thought experiment were we doing when we made the tree in the first place? Let's not
say what now?
What type of thought experiment were we doing when we made the tree in the first place? Why is it even there?
The tree of knowledge, good and evil.
I have a tree.
Why did we put it there?
Why would we put that there? Long story short, they bite into the situation, the forbidden fruit, and now because Eve is, over here being seduced by the snake, she is now responsible for them having to work hard, have to grow their own food, and die. And that's the message. The end. Now go tell your parents what you learned today, boys and girls.
Listen, now don't touch yourself or Sky Daddy's gonna get mad, okay? Goodbye.
Yeah, fear is a real good way to control people.
And it works. It works. But I'm like, you've been teaching your kids that from the very beginning. And so don't say the government and the religion don't cross, because they do, because it feels like every decision they make is based on religious gain. But isn't that about the money too, also, as well?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That's crazy.
Look, it's a whole book out there that you can read all these crazy stories. Eat the fish, don't eat the fish.
What's wild is the way these people talk. It sounds like they didn't even read that book.
New one, and then there's the new one. And each time God has destroyed the world. So that's why I think,
like you said, the people that push it don't seem to have read it.
They don't. There's whole
translations anyway.
You can look at other countries that were built upon their secular faiths, and they can have abortions. You can get an abortion in Israel right now.
Please show me.
Ain't nobody gonna yell.
I don't think it's even about the abortion necessarily, because I just don't think there's a stampede. You know what I'm saying? Stop acting like there's a flood at this. First of all, don't act like anybody that has to go through that is looking forward to doing it. It's a horrible decision to be faced with in your life. And, for many reasons. But when they say that somebody can get our word, because, you can't say that, But if you can get R word and then be pregnant afterwards and then have to go through that whole, process of being a mother, or just for so many reasons, there's 1,000 different reasons why, you may be faced with that decision.
Right.
I don't think anybody's looking forward to it. I don't, the message is like making it, but gun control can't be a conversation.
Nope. And this is the timing of all this is real convenient, considering that the whole January 6th committee is being they're deeply on trial right now. It's like, okay, first we're gonna have Will Smith smack a guy, and then we're just gonna cancel abortion. Just we need to have people talking about anything but
okay. So
but this.
Anyway, what the fuck is still going on in the Ukraine, guys? Or was that still happening, or is it not?
Okay,
that is absolutely still happening.
Talking about it when Will Smith slapped somebody and they tried to ban abortions. Ain't nobody talking about that no more.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because apparently over 2,000 cows have died in the state of Kansas. Kansas being the third biggest production of cattle.
That is the Wizard of Oz state, so.
Well, all these cows died, and they're saying because of heat. I'm come on, we're not gonna do that. It wasn't too hot for the cows, but I did find out, and I'm getting my source from the Washington Post, so I'm not making shit up. But a big part of the corn that they feed the cows with comes from the Ukraine.
Okay, I didn't know that part.
Right.
Yeah, that is a little suspect. That is a little suspect.
But how come we're not? There's an attack on farmers. It's so weird. Like, how come we're not just growing corn here? How come we don't have factories for baby food here, baby formula? Why we gotta be, the things that we're outsourcing from, we gonna blame it on the Ukraine because we don't have any other reason,
Yeah,
that's
just
easy.
something to
That's
keep
like
us
saying
arguing with
people
each
ain't
other.
back to work because COVID. I don't think that's it. So
just something to keep people arguing with each other, so we can pay attention to the irrelevant shit
Arguing with
instead
each
of
other.
trying to get
problem.
to the bottom of the problem.
yeah, but the country was like thriving back when we had factories. How come we don't have farmland? When we moved here, it was a whole lot of cows. You see any cows where you used to see cows at? Because I don't.
I believe they're turning you remember by the school that I used to go to? That little
Yeah. Those are gone.
They're building on that right now. I think they're building apartments on it.
That makes sense.
For upwards of 10 years, we drove past and there were horses.
So how much is that gonna be? Because nobody can afford to live anywhere.
Too much.
I'm struggling to find a 3-bedroom apartment, and all of them cost like fucking $1,800 a pop.
I mean, some places it's $1,800 for a 1-bedroom apartment. That's all I'm saying. It's like, who's that? So you're taking away the livelihood of people and then putting property there that nobody can afford. I'm confused.
As y'all are building,
and then the other two high producers of cattle is Texas and Nebraska. So what's going on in Texas and Nebraska? We don't know yet, but if those other names pop up, like,
Yeah,
I just think it's interesting how it's all tied in together.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. I'm still a little bit though. It's like it's not the first time we've seen mass animal deaths, and it's not like we've been taking care of the environment in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, blights do happen.
Caused by what though? Not to heat. Like, say what it is.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do with it? Feed it to us anyway? How do we know? And make us pay double? Cause the meat ain't meating. Cause every now and then.
Ain't meat don't hit. The salami lid don't fit.
I'm just saying, lately when I've been going to the Walmart or the wherever you happen to get your groceries from, sometimes the meat tastes suspect. A little bit. I'm just saying.
A lot of it, you can taste all of the steroids.
Yeah, meat be strong.
You remember that time we bought some chicken and that my whole 3-year vegetarian
It was all tendon.
It was all tendon, bit into
Chicken was like,
it was like biting into one of those rubber erasers. It was
well,
all three of us lost our appetite. Nobody.
So on that note, with strong meat. Yeah, so what's next? What's the next amendment do we think we're going after? I think it's definitely time to pay attention. And how do you undo the situation with the Supreme Court? Because that's on y'all. You know what I'm saying? My generation has clearly fucked up the whole church's money. That's what we out here doing.
Yeah.
So how do we fix it? You know what I'm saying? Because everything's different. The way we teach children is different. Like you're talking about farming, they don't know farming and gardening and any of that stuff. And if the soil is fucked up, then how do we fix that? Where do we start? Because after you post the meme that says you don't control my coochie and all of that stuff, and it's 2 or 3 days later, so then what though?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question, honestly. And it's one of those things that's so big, it's hard to know where to start. And if voting was gonna work,
well, I think it would be a good start to know at least who your congressmen are and who who these people are.
But granted, that is not to say that it is completely useless. I mean, it is one thing that we can do, is but like
it's a start. It's a start, and as long as because when you say who sits on the Supreme Court, I mean, do you know?
Nope.
Well, that's a start. Maybe you should know. And myself included.
How does that
help? Like who the next guy is, down the line, your state congressman, because that's how things are going as it relates to abortion. That's gonna be a state-to-state thing now. And if you're poor and you can't afford to get it done, how you gonna afford to go somewhere to get it done?
Stairs.
I mean, on a serious note, people have already been sharing a lot of alternatives to things like Plan B. They're providing a lot of resources for people to be able to get a hold of that sort of thing. And that's
what about male contraception?
Let's get on it. Like, bust out that
somebody should,
real quick, bro.
Like, then we're taking away men's rights, therefore that's wrong.
Well, if they don't want to take care of children, because there's a whole lot of men out there going, you can't be pregnant. No. What do you mean?
Well, if that's
so then they need to figure out how to not make somebody pregnant. That's nobody's researching that.
We wouldn't be here.
Say what?
I said if that woman hadn't told us to eat the apple, then we wouldn't have been here.
I'm sick.
It's all her fault. That's
why. We're canceled.
Right.
Because of that damn apple.
Well, okay, child. So I think, the first responsibility is to at least learn who your congressmen are, and see who you're putting in office. Because I think a lot of times we go when we're voting and we vote for the shit and be like, I don't know who that is, so I'm not voting for anything. I think there's some things that we need to be paying attention to on that note. And I say myself included, because to be honest, since we, like people that look like you and I, Kylie, couldn't even vote until 1965, we way behind the curve on how this whole thing works. You know what I'm saying? As a regular person, not as a person who studies. And then even in school, when they're teaching you civics, they make sure it's so complicated and boring that you don't want to know what's going on. That's not an accident either.
It's not an accident, but I foresee a whole lot of them coming up. I'm so funny.
On that note, guys, we're gonna do this once a month. We're gonna find some current events and hot topics to talk about. We would love to have you down in the comments. This is my family, and welcome, and not welcome. Oops, and thank you for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Say bye. Say bye to people.
Bye.
You're
Bye to
welcome.
the people.
You're still quite welcome. Peace out. See you next time.